Winchester, Virginia, and we came to see George Washington's office. Unfortunately, the museum is closed during the winter, but we'll be able to see it here from the outside. You know, George Washington used this small building. It's constructed of logs, and now it's in the middle room of George Washington's office museum. He used it as a military office from September of 1755 through December of 1756, while Fort Loudon was being constructed right at the north end of town. Washington planned Fort Loudon, he supervised the work, and he even brought his own blacksmiths from Mount Vernon to do the ironwork. We'll go to that site next, but here on the grounds of the museum is a cannon that was left by General Edward Braddock in Alexandria. It's among a number of artifacts. In fact, there's two cannons here on the outside that are displayed right here at the office. When it's open from April through October, you can see some of Washington's personal surveying equipment and a scale model of the town of Winchester right around 1755, which shows the fort prominently located at the north end of town. So this, George Washington's Office Museum, is housed in an 18th century structure on an elevated section of ground in the heart of historic downtown Winchester. Winchester played an important role in George Washington's early adult life. His military and political career actually began right here. As a young man at 16, he came to the area to begin what he thought would be his life's profession as a surveyor. With the earnings from his surveying business, he was able to buy a number of acres right around Frederick County, and he even bought a lot in town that enabled him to serve as a Burgess from Frederick County from 1758 through 1765. In 2004, the Winchester Frederick County Historical Society dedicated this statue right over here of the young surveyor George Washington, and we'll go there right now. It's a great reminder of George Washington's early life in the area where he spent so much time during these really crucial formative years for him. During the French and Indian War, he commanded the Virginia Regiment from his headquarters here in Winchester. Let's go see Fort Loudon now. It's actually just the site of Fort Loudon. There's a house that stands there in that place, but it's, I think there are some remnants. There's a well, and there might be a few other things that might be indicators, but it's on the north end of town, so let's go there right now. Well, we're here, and I can tell you the first thing that you notice about where Fort Loudon was is that you're on very high ground. So that's definitely one of the criteria that Washington had in choosing the site for Fort Loudon was high ground. So we're here at 419 North Loudon Street, which was the site of Fort Loudon. Fort Loudon, of course, George Washington's regimental headquarters during the French and Indian Wars, located in what is now Winchester, Virginia. On high ground, as I mentioned, this fort was built by George Washington, who was then a colonel in the militia of the British province of Virginia. It was named for John Campbell, the 4th Earl of Loudon, who commanded the British forces in North America for a time during the war. And Washington and his militia regiment were headquartered here at the fort for 2 years. The fort was a roughly square bastioned earthwork spreading across where North Loudon Street runs right along this road. It was the largest and most formidable fortification of the Virginia forts and was constructed in the prevalent style of French and British forts. In 1756, the Virginia House of Burgesses approved the construction of a chain of forts all along this area. George Washington, the colonel of the Virginia Regiment, was the commander responsible for protecting the backcountry from incursions by the French and Indian allies. Washington lobbied for a large magazine to supply the diverse forts with stores. He chose Winchester to be that site due to its strategic location. This was the main command and control fortress for Virginia's extensive frontier chain of forts. Washington drew the plans for Fort Loudon and directly supervised the construction between 1756 and 1758. It was still under construction in 1758 and may still have not been completed to Washington's satisfaction. Built of parallel inner and outer walls 18 feet apart at the base filled with earth and rubble, the fort was designed with 4 bastions, barracks for 450 men, and a well sunk 103 feet through solid limestone rock to supply the fort with water. The site of the fort was here at the current intersection of Clark and Loudon Streets. Although isolated Indian raids were made against the settlements a few miles from the fort, it was never attacked or threatened right here at Fort Loudon. Fort Loudon was unmatched in size along the colonial Virginia frontier that stretched from the border of Maryland all the way to North Carolina. And you know, I just ran into a gentleman here who just moved from New Jersey, and he said that White Post, Virginia is the site of where Washington planted his first white stake in Virginia. And so we're going to go see if we can't find that right now if it's not too far away.